It's been a few years since Munin's first release, about 2 years in fact. Background release, Munin was pretty broken. I didn't like her for a few reasons right off the bat. First off, Scythe and bow. Not really my weapons of choice. Secondly, her whole design didn't really flow with me too well, although my opinion has changed pretty significantly on that. The third reason that I've already stated is that at the time she was really broken. I wasn't a great player when I made this analysis, so I likely hopped on the bandwagon of calling Munin OP when she dropped. Which she probably was, but hey, what's a random diamond's opinion have anything to do with it? So, how does Munin hold up nowadays? Is she just as broken as her release? Is she one of the worst Scythe legends? Is she a secretly slept on pick? Let's talk about it. First off is the signatures, as always. I don't think Munin's signatures are bad, but I personally only see people throwing out a few different ones. The rest are... let's check them out. Scythe Insig covers a really wide area, which is pretty cool and all, but it doesn't have that much force. Munin in general doesn't, so trying to kill with the Sig is not the best option. But it is pretty good for catching all sorts of dodges. I can imagine if you use it with Sidelight or Neutralite and the enemy doesn't have a dodge, you might be able to get it true. Scythe Side Sig, I would have to say, is her worst Scythe Sig. Not that it's bad, but I wouldn't say it's fantastic. Once again, not the greatest force. It hits in a pretty simple area as well, making it pretty easy to catch onto or avoid if you know what jumping is. Which, trust me, a lot of people don't know what jumping is. This one actually wasn't nerfed at all as far as I know. It's still the same as it was on release. Even back then, I said it wasn't quote-unquote, oh my god, S tier broken, immediate nerf broken. So I guess I was right on some terms. Lastly, we have Scythe Down Sig, the only Scythe one to actually receive a nerf. As I stated, it was the most broken one back then. With the force nerf it received, I'd say the Sig is in a pretty nice spot. Good for edge guarding and has that touch of Knife Spear Down Sig vibes to it. Her best Scythe Sig, but not overpowered from my view. Her bow kit is much better in my opinion. In some aspects, that is. We're starting off with a big flop here, Bow Insig. By far her worst bow Sig, and I'm dare to say it's her worst Sig in general. I think Bow Neutralite and Nair are better moves for catching falling opponents. There isn't too much to say on that one, because we gotta get on to the two big guns. Bow Side Sig was one of the two wildly broken ones on release, and as of right now, I'd still say it's one of her best signatures. It covers a super generous area underneath Munin, and you're jumping in the air too, so you won't be getting caught by any grounded attacks for punishing. The force on it is quite nice as well. If you take someone's recovery with it, be prepared to kill an orange. Lastly, we have Bow Down Sig. This was the other powerhouse signature from Munin on release. It came out almost instantly, covering both sides of Munin, and you could quickly recover from it too. All the things that the signature needed to be broken. Although I think a slight part of calling it overpowered might have been because Munin was a new legend. The only thing that nerfed about this signature was the force, not the auto frames or the end lag, and I wouldn't really call it as broken as it used to be. That's how I feel about so many of Munin's signatures. The good ones are pretty balanced, but some signatures less seen like Bow Insig and Scythe Side Sig I could see receiving a buff if they decide to return to Munin ever. Seriously, her only balance pass was almost 2 years ago. BMG, come on. As of now though, her bow game wins in terms of strength. Moving on to her skins, she has some pretty nice ones. Some new ones that I think are super good, and some not so much. God tier has Owlbard Hugin, DJ Hugin, and Default Munin. I loved Battle Pass Season 7, and this skin just works so well. As for DJ Hugin, it was such a huge meme at launch, but is arguably the best looking of the launch skins. And Default just looks so nice. It was around Jaehyun's release where they started perfecting Default skins, Munin's included. Pretty good tier has just Hugin. This is my favorite skin on release, especially for the design, but the color swaps could be much better. The other arguable best skin on launch. Lastly, we have Starlit, Magpie, and Cockatail Munin. They're all okay looking skins, but they stick out in specific categories that make me not like them as much. Sorry Munin, but Hugin just has much better skins. Overall though, they're all very nice. None are hands down terrible, so that's a huge upside for Munin and Hugin. Tier list wise, out of S, A, B, C, and D, I'd place Munin in high B tier. There's a few reasons why I didn't place her higher. She doesn't have the greatest signatures, some good ones, yes, but they are some of them you'll never see thrown out. And even then, those signatures that are good are not wildly overpowered. Good, yes, but Munin herself isn't broken enough to warrant those types of nerfs. She's already the least played Scythe legend. Another reason might just be for her weapons. Scythe can be pretty strong, but bow, in my personal opinion, is not a top weapon. I also wouldn't say bottom either, but the combo is kinda iffy. I can't really say her weapon combo is why people don't play her, because Scythe Bow was a combo people were dying to get before her release. And then it just kinda flopped. Don't get me wrong, I love the concept behind Munin and Hugin. Being based off mythology like a lot of the other legends, including Thor, Loki, Orion, and Artemis, this one was a no-brainer for the Brawlhalla devs. But it just didn't stick for some reason. Another reason people might not like her is the stat lineup. 5 attack, 6 dex, 4 defense, and 7 speed. This stat lineup theoretically is something people should like, but as somebody who hates playing high speed and prefers high attack and defense, this stat lineup screams terrible to me. No killing power, no survivability, no bitches. Maybe she can get the Nair Sayer Scythe combo that Jiro has, but at this point that's becoming a regular for Scythe Legends. In all honesty though, I can see any stance working. Dexterity for that Nair Sayer combo, which honestly is so niche that it probably isn't worth it. Attack takes down on defense, leaving you pretty low there. Defense takes out of speed, which leaves you balanced, and speed takes out of dexterity if you care more about zooming around or doing rare true combos. So yeah, you can make her stat lineup more preferable to your tastes, but it's nothing major. I would absolutely say she's still more fun to fight than most Scythe Legends. You already know who you are. That's besides the point. At the time, Munin was wildly overplayed, and I did not like her at launch. After 2 years of having Munin and time has passed, it's much more clear that she really isn't all that great. At least from a high elo perspective. I can see some of her signatures absolutely dominating in lower elo play. But let's be honest, that can be said about so many different legends. If you like Munin though, props to you. She's one that I wish was seen a bit more apart from the average Mordex, Nyx, Artemis, you get the gist. So I order you to play 5 matches with Munin. Yes, you, the viewer, I'm talking to you. Of course, if you enjoyed this analysis, feel free to subscribe. It's free and you can always unsubscribe at any time. And until next time, remember to keep on brawling.